Hi and welcome to another edition of Seeking Change Update. My name is Ian Wallace and the website www.seekingchange.co.uk is where you'll find more information about the topics and the subjects I'm going to talk about today. Carrying on the theme that I've been doing for the last 2 to 3 weeks, what I'd like to is just connect with single parenting and children after a breakup of a relationship. This area of working with your children as a single parent can be massively hard. Certainly if the absent parent is not connecting or not interacting with the children or not being helpful in doing that, i.e. sticking to the structure that you've agreed to or manipulating and controlling through the children in order to still have an influence over the family. So as a single parent, you need to not take responsibility for the absent parent's process. It's their choices, it's their decisions, it's their responsibility. And in doing that, you need to obviously engage with the children in a way that doesn't necessarily blame the absent parent, because if you do that, then the children naturally will want to come to their defence and they'll want to see them in a better light. So you have to engage with the children in a way that doesn't, as I say, disrespect that person, but in a way that doesn't take responsibility for their process and their decisions. And that can be really hard sometimes from a single parent's point of view, because naturally you would like those children to engage with the absent parent, to have a joint experience, but that might not be something that can actually be achieved. So when you're trying to sort that out for the kids, when you're trying to create that structure, and if the absent parent isn't helpful, then you do need to give the children a responsibility and understanding that it's not you that's making those choices, the absent parent that's making the choices, but not in a way that blames them, which might sound really hard. But it's the way you talk to the children that makes the difference, not necessarily what you say. So making the children aware that actually there has been some decisions made, and when those aspects will be encountered, when the visits will be, when they will be, and that they've been planned. And when or if that other absent parent doesn't turn up or doesn't connect, then the likelihood is you need to just express to them, well, as far as I know, they were coming, so shall we try to get a hold of them? So the child can then have some inclusivity with that process. It's not you getting hold of them for the child's sake. And you can make a telephone call or you can text with the child there, and then the child knows that you're honouring your part of the agreement, and they can see that the absent parent is the one that's letting them down, not that you're stopping them seeing that absent parent. So when you're trying to do that single parenting role, you're trying to be mum and dad to the child or the children. You have to make sure that you can create effective boundaries, and the breakup in a relationship is an insecure process from a child's point of view and an adult's point of view. So it's really important that after that has occurred, and then the children get really, really effective boundaries, and that they know where their security is. And they will push and they will challenge, as I said in the previous video, to see if you will stay as the single parent. But in order to do that, the effective boundaries that you make has to be something that they will interact with and they can be secure with, and that the boundaries are solid. If you can do that, if you can be the things you say you can be, and tell them that you can't be the things you can't be, then that will create more security in the process for them, and they'll be able to understand it and be able to attach to the secure parent that's stayed. Always remember though that children don't usually say what they mean. They will have an action or reaction that will give you some indication that they're hurting emotionally, but don't in some senses remember that the one that gives you the least trouble can be the one that's hurting the most So if a child is being compliant, if a child is being good, if a child is being easier to get on with than they would normally be, or they spend a lot of time in their room or on their own, or they're given a process that says that this isn't bothering me, then be very, very careful about connecting with that child appropriately and trying to understand what's really going on. Because a lot of children who go through that process can start to self-harm in a way that, and not necessarily in a way that you would externally see anorexia, bulimia, cutting, or those kind of things, but emotionally self-harming themselves. So they will tend to distance themselves from things that they can enjoy, not give themselves things that they would make them happy, distance themselves from relationships that make them happy, maybe other family members and stuff. They might be a bit more reclusive, a bit more interactive with Facebook or friends on the internet. So instead of actually telling you and the people around them how much they're hurting or emotionally, then they may just externalise that to somebody else. And that wouldn't be an effective way to work this. So from that point of view, know that you need to have an interaction and reaction with them, and that you can share their fears and their concerns and their insecurities. If you can do that, then nothing will be wonderfully unhappy, and it will be the best process on the planet, but it'll be one that they can cope with, and they will see some process of security and safety and structure with that, and then you can have a better relationship for the future. It's not an easy one. It never will be. Certainly being a single parent is never an easy process. But try as much as you can engage with the children and get them to understand what is the reality of the situation without blaming, but also understand where they are and spend some quality time one-on-one with them to try and understand them a bit more. Then hopefully everybody can come out of it in an okay way, but not the best way. If you need any more information about this subject matter, there is lots of information on my website about control, manipulation, being on your own, communication tools in order to work with people. And that could be very helpful in this process. But whatever you do, do not isolate yourself in this process. Talk to somebody, connect with somebody that will give you honest and appropriate information and support, and so you can trust it. And so if you want to work with someone like myself, like a relationship counsellor or a family counsellor, if you're working with yourself and the children, which can be helpful sometimes, then please do connect with people to try and kind of work your way through this process. Don't see it as that you failed, that you haven't. All you've done is try to cope with extreme circumstances sometimes that is not easy for anybody to cope with as a parent. So reach out, ask for help, and that way then you can hopefully come through this process in a much easier and more appropriate way. Take care. Look after yourselves. I'll speak to you again soon.